being cringe, causing feelings of acute embarrassment or awkwardness, or as I like to think about it, causing secondhand embarrassment. Yeah, we all experience secondhand embarrassment, but there is no one who makes me cringe and gives me more secondhand embarrassment than Ginny Miller. But I didn't come here to just make that statement, because I have compiled evidence of awkward, embarrassing, pitiful, squirm-inducing, uncomfortable, selfish, inconsiderate evidence I like to call the cringe files. And I'll basically just be playing the judge, jury, executioner, and detective. So with that out the way, let's get into case file 1. This consists of cheating on her boyfriend, not telling her best friend Maxine that she's been sleeping with her twin brother Marcus, or at the very least saying she has a thing for him, sending her little brother's letters to Gil, who's an abuser, which her mother hid for a reason, but that's not even the main part. She never admits that she's in the wrong for this, and she basically just doxed their location. And some of the pettier crimes like, you know, stealing Marcus's motorcycle and shoplifting. But first, we're gonna have to start at the beginning, when everybody moves to Wellsbury, because for the 15th time, they're starting a new life, to where Ginny has to start her first day in school, and she's already being a cornball. She then meets Marcus, and I just want to say, Ginny has terrible socialization skills. Like, even in season 3, she still has terrible socialization skills. It doesn't get better.
Howdy.
Side note, she has never said howdy to introduce herself ever again in the series. I don't know what possessed her to do it here. Now, I want you to keep this in mind for later on. Maxine just introduced her to her whole friend group. So you could say she's one of the reasons she has all these friends. Keep that in mind for later. Oh yeah, she also meets Hunter. Oh my god. Hunter then asks her out on a date, to which we get this scene of them on the date, and I've spoke on this scene before in a previous video. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then they say bye, you know, all is good. Later that day, Marcus, the same kid she met at school, sneaks in through her window. They also happen to be neighbors, by the way. But instead of telling him to leave immediately, Marcus is like, do you like him? That Hunter guy? She's like, yeah, I like him. Why? And he immediately goes in for the kiss. She pushes him back, rightfully so. And then Marcus tries to explain himself, but Ginny just goes in for a kiss, and then they just start making out. Now, to be fair, up until this point, Ginny and Hunter aren't actually dating, but that doesn't mean she gets a pass. She is still lame and corny for this, because not even a few moments ago, she admitted to liking Hunter, and she's just being real easy right now. She proceeds to sleep with this man. All I'm saying is, if I was Hunter, I'd be sick to my stomach. Next day at school, right? Look what we have here. This man has a whole girlfriend, but hey, she's still smiling at Hunter because all is still good. She then walks up to them, and being the kind Samaritan she is, tells her she has something on her shirt. I've been having... Now, though she didn't technically cheat, I still think she's a lame and cringe for that. But before I actually get into her actually cheating on Hunter, I'll briefly go into the lesser cornball activities. And this consists of shoplifting. So the girls go shopping, you know, normal teenage activity. But Abby, who I think is a terrible influence on Ginny, by the way, tells her to shoplift some earrings. She actually ends up getting caught, and they call her mom. But don't worry, guys. When in doubt, you pull the race card. Because if you really think about it, Georgia is an expert in manipulation.
Did you check the other girls' purses, or you single out my daughter because she's black?
But I don't even think that's the worst part. It's how fast Abby threw her under the bus.
We had no idea that Ginny was stealing.
And when I say keep this in mind for future seasons, I mean it. And by the way, during all this, Ginny is still hooking up with Marcus. And the thing is, Ginny's not even a girl's girl. She never told the other girl Marcus is cheating. Though she is the one he's cheating on her with, she didn't know that prior. But now she knows. She's corny. Later on, they're having like a little gathering party at school. Her and her friends all got like the little matching fit on. You know, it's cool. And of course, she's in the bathroom with Marcus talking about his problems and stuff. And then they're about to kiss. But this is when Georgia and Maxine walks in. And Georgia's like a chaperone at this event that's going on, and being a decent mom here, she's trying to fix Ginny's hair, and this is just another instance of Ginny just being a brat.
You hate that I'm making friends instead of hanging in the corner with you judging everyone. You're just jealous that I get to do this and you didn't. That's what this is about. Am I wrong?
Excuse me?
Like, oh my god, she is such a brat. Now with the function over, she runs into Hunter, and he finally asks her, you want to be my girlfriend? And with her great social skills, she's like, yeah, I guess so. And Marcus seeing this all unfold like they just weren't about to make out in the bathroom. Now I've heard some people say she was peer pressured to say yes by her friends, but I'm not buying that. But if that's what you think, I don't think that's too crazy to say. But for these cheating allegations, yeah, that's not gonna fly. So now that Ginny and Hunter are dating, they usually hang out at Brody's basement. We even see Marcus's girl there. Hey, maybe these two should just start going out. But there is one problem. And Jenny vents these problems to her friends, saying she doesn't think they're intimate enough. She like, yeah, we kissed 3 times. No tongue. He not even grabbing on the jugs. Nothing. Later that day, she sends Maxine a picture, and Maxine's like, hell yeah, send that to Hunter. So she does and pulls the move we all did when we text someone we like. And not responding instantly, she texts Maxine about it. But she wasn't very helpful. But then Marcus texts her. Howdy neighbor. And I mean, with zero hesitation, she sends that same picture to Marcus. But she's not done there. They begin to exchange photos and then apologizes for her not finishing and then is like, you can do it right now. I'm doing it right now. Then she lies about finishing and then he says, good night, sexy. And then the whole toothbrush scene happens. But bro, this is 1000% cheating. But Ginny's selfish. She didn't take a moment to think about what Hunter would think about this. This man Hunter was out here writing whole songs about her, bro. Those pretty hard to watch. But that's not the point, because he's there for her and always thinks about what she would think and puts her first. But this whole time, Ginny has not been doing the same. Even after the song he sung about her, he apologized for making her feel judged when she sent that photo. Little does she know, she out here sending that photo to Marcus too. But they kiss and make up. But look, even while she's in his hands, look who is still texting her. You would think she would probably make a 360 and try to make things better from here. But it's Ginny we're talking about. Things are not gonna get better from here. Because meanwhile, Ginny's out here having family problems. And Hunter's trying to check up on her, but you know, she's being a brat. Later, they had a little competition where they had to write an essay, but for some reason, Ginny decided to write a whole poem. So Hunter ended up winning. But no hard feelings, right? They would soon be at Ginny's house, and then she's like, I think I should have won that essay. And Hunter was like, maybe the teacher was right. It was too conventional. So in Hunter's own words, they have an oppression Olympics.
Let's go.
You know, first ever argument. That's natural in relationships. Though this argument was weird, but hey, things happen. Let's see what Ginny decides to do. She decides to confess her feelings to Marcus, kiss, and sleep with him again. And I can't believe some people actually defend this, saying that their last previous argument was a breakup. People talking about it was a breakup with no words. What? And then they try to say some arguments you can't come back from. Didn't Ginny bring up race first? Not to mention after he shows up to her workplace to apologize and confess to her, saying that he loves her, and not once did Ginny talk about the status of their relationship. She could have said right then and there that it's over and that they're done, but not once did she say that. She just stood there acting surprised like, are we really still in a relationship? You never broke up! But things only get worse from here. Maxine discovers that she's been texting Marcus this entire time, and not no normal text messages. These were the freaky ones. And this is quote unquote her best friend, and she never told her she's been messing around with Marcus. And that's literally her twin brother, bro. This is just crazy. What are we doing? So Ginny decides to go see Maxine at her school play and finally realizes she's avoiding her. And Maxine's just out here doing her performance, but as soon as she goes backstage, they start arguing. But when the show's over, Maxine takes her to the hallway and they just start having a back and forth. Her other two friends show up and she's mad at Abby too because she never told her and she knew. This is when Hunter goes into the hallway too with his great timing. And Abby, I guess trying to be Mr. Save-A-Man, tells him everything.
Ginny cheated on you. Yep. She had sex with Marcus.
Let's see Jenny take accountability. Who am I kidding? She's just like, I love you, but I also love Marcus. And this man comes in with a great timing. And I think at this point, we can officially say they broke up. But Hunter's not done yet because he has to sock Marcus. I don't know why he's mad at Marcus. I think it would have been more appropriate for him to body slam Jenny. Or is that just me? But to sum up this case file, Ginny mails Austin's letters to his dad, who's an abuser. So she just put the whole family in danger now that he knows where they all live. And she steals Marcus's bike to run away with Austin to her dad's house with no license. I don't think the license even matters. That's just the icing on the cake. Like, Ginny is only ever thinking about herself, bro. She didn't take anything else into account. And just because she's in hard times gives her the right to make all these selfish, self-centered decisions, right? Is that gonna really be your counter argument, bro? She's corny, cringy, lame, self-centered, a skank, and a brat. And guess what? She never faces the consequences of her actions. Just a little slap on the wrist, right, Ginny? So with that out the way, let's get into case file 2. And this contains a lot of juicy details like getting pregnant, pushing her best friend Maxine away, and blackmailing Cynthia. So right after that whole altercation of her cheating on Hunter, Ginny and Marcus Marcus decide to start dating. But Ginny, as usual, is only really thinking about herself and fails to see that Marcus is depressed. So this would later lead to them breaking up. So they went the route of still trying to be friends. They even almost kissed once. They even did kiss at a school dance they had, even though Marcus was intoxicated. And at that school dance, he would vandalize a classroom, because I guess that's what drunk people do. So this would later lead to them having a discussion about it, and she's like, I just need the people in my life to stop doing illegal shit. You're gonna realize how ironic that sounds later. And then she's like, I don't understand why we can't be together. You literally kissed me. And Marcus just tells her, I don't love you anymore. So after hearing those words, this girl Ginny finally decides to move on, and she goes on a date with this guy named Wolf from her poetry class. They end up hitting it off though, and they even kiss. And though they're not officially dating, I generally think he's better to her than Marcus. Later, Wolf would invite her out to a party, and they will get it on in the laundry room. Keep in mind, Jenny's all like, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm trying to get cracked. So this would actually result in Ginny facing the consequences of her actions. And when she does a pregnancy test, it turns out positive. So the first thing she does is tell Wolfie, but that boy low-key got up out of there. And then she goes to her mom's house, who's on house arrest, by the way. She does like this little goofy sneak in, and she just full on breaks down asking her mom, what should I do? But she like, what do you mean? What are you asking me for? So she makes her take another pregnancy test just in case, and rightfully so. She's like, what were you thinking? Didn't I put you on birth control? And here comes Ginny, never trying to take accountability. Cornball activity. Oh my god. Like, do I really have to play it back?
How far you want to go exactly?
I just want to have fun, okay?
Because apparently it's the world's fault, never Ginny's, man. It's not Ginny's fault, guys. The world is just against her. Ginny Miller versus the world. So Ginny makes the decision to go to an abortion clinic and ends up getting an abortion, which is ironic because she's trying to be this moral compass, and her mom's on trial for murder, and she was always trying to dig into her mom's past to find out who she'd been killing, but that's what she ends up deciding to do. And look who's out there waiting for her. Oh my god, man, let it go. Like, bro, if Marcus asked Ginny to get on all fours, Ginny is getting on all fours, bro. Regardless, Ginny decides to go to a party, and Marcus is also there. Look at her checking up on him, making sure he's good. And then Maxine would see Ginny, and then she would try to talk. She's like, listen, I feel like y'all been pushing me away for some reason. Like the whole friend group been acting weird. And bro, Ginny is acting mad Hollywood here. Remember when I said Maxine's the reason she even has this whole friend group or friends in the first place? And now she's talking about we just grew apart. You and Marcus grew apart, and look how you be acting around him. Like, Marcus could say he don't like you, but you will find it in your heart to go be cool with him or just friends. But Maxine feeling some type of way, and it's just, oh, I guess we just grew apart. It's natural. Life continues on. Like, this is some mad red flag activity, mad green, mad corny, cringe, Hollywood. Like, bro, Maxine's your day one here, bro. Like, for someone that moved around a lot and never got to make friends, you're just gonna push away your day one friend, but keep around the same people who hurt you in your life time and time again, right? That makes absolutely no sense. And then Maxine ends up having to take Marcus home because he's drunk. He's not even supposed to be here, and he has a drinking problem. Like, Maxine has her own set of problems. And here comes Ginny. Do you guys need help? Oh my god, poor Marcus. I'm willing to help. But hey, we're not that close, right? You can back off, buddy. Like, bro, Ginny is just terrible, man. Oh my goodness. But now let me just show you the extent to which Ginny would go to, the lengths she would leap just to get what she wants. So if you remember earlier when I said Ginny's mom was on house arrest, right? Yeah, she's on house arrest for murder, right? So Ginny usually shows up to court with her brother, you know, to support their mom. And this is Cynthia. And Cynthia's in court because allegedly Georgia murdered her husband. But there's no alleged. She actually did murder this man. Like, yeah, her husband was dying, but that doesn't justify murder. That's literally not her decision to make. So I'm not trying to hear none of that, bro. So Cynthia had to take the stand and, you know, like say, yeah, she killed my husband. This, that, the third, right? But let me show and tell you what Ginny decides to do prior to this court trial. She would go to Cynthia, blackmailing her by saying, yeah, I have the videos of you and Joe sleeping with each other in the restaurant I work at, or having an affair, whatever they were doing in there. And obviously this isn't public knowledge. Cynthia doesn't want this to be public knowledge. But hold on, that's not even the worst part. Ginny was actually lying. There are 0 cameras in the restaurant. Cynthia didn't know this, obviously, so she's just taking Ginny's word for it. But she would later find out, yeah, she was lying. But by the time she found this out, the trial was already over. It's too late. But Ginny's not finished here. She's able to catch Austin in school, who's in the custody of his dad because of the whole murder trial going on. So knowing this is the only place she can catch Austin, right? She basically proceeds to tell Austin to go up on that stand and lie. Now, she didn't say this verbatim, but she's like, listen, Austin, it's either your dad or your mom. It's us versus the world right now. You gotta pick. So you know what this results in? When Austin gets up on that stand, this man just starts spitting nonsense. He blames his dad for the murder. And he's like, he must have snuck in without anybody knowing. Oh my goodness. And when Cynthia gets up on the stand, the lawyer's like, can you object to this? And she really can't say nothing because she's getting blackmailed by Ginny. And Georgia's lawyer is saying, so it's a possibility Gil snuck in there and killed your husband? And she's just like, I guess that's a possibility. And bro, look at Ginny's face. She genuinely feels accomplished about this, bro. She is happy. She's quite literally a hypocrite. She is just like her mother. She didn't care what Cynthia was going through. She wanted her mom released from prison. You think she cares? She didn't care about the husband who died. She didn't care what Austin was thinking. I'm not gonna say she doesn't generally care about Austin, but she didn't take the time to think about the repercussions of this, how this would affect him. But no, it's all about what Ginny wants. Ginny wants her mother released from prison for murder, so she's gonna do everything in her power to get what she wants, and she just proved to us she's willing to do anything it takes. And that's what I call cornball activity, bro. You're lame. Like, Ginny, wipe that smirk off your face. You are not getting no cool points for this. But I think it's finally time I wrap this up, because she was constantly getting on her mom's head about her crazy past, but she turns around and does stuff like this. You are no better, because Ginny's out here blackmailing people in the court of law, pushing her day ones away because they quote unquote grew apart, but yet she's still cool with Abby, the fakest day one she got. Maxine has never done her dirty, by the way, but you peep how she's the first one to get pushed away. And if you remember, Ginny was the one sleeping with Marcus behind Maxine's back without ever telling her, quote unquote best friend, by the way, right? Her constant need for validation of her feelings for Marcus, because it's about what she wants even though he's depressed and going through his own problems, cheating on Hunter and never owning up to it, manipulating her little brother Austin, and doxing their location, causing more problems for not just Georgia but her entire family, leaving to Austin having to shoot his own dad, was constantly acting bratty to her own mother, who did everything in her power to keep them safe and give them a good life. Because to Ginny, all Georgia's sacrifices mean nothing. Like, oh boy, I can't wait to see what they have in store for us season 4. So I think I can say for certain Ginny is cringy, but not just that, of course. She is more than just cringy. So with that, I'm pretty certain I went through all the notes I have compiled to prove to you why she's even in these cringe files. So if you enjoyed this, let me know, and I don't know, sub maybe, or dislike. Just feel free to let me know what you think.